What if a mystery in one of the coldest places on Earth still has no clear explanation after decades? A case where people disappeared, strange tracks were found, and the clues only seem to raise more questions? Why you should keep watching. Stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll understand the key details of what happened, the theories experts have, and what makes this story still talked about today. No exaggeration, just calm, clear facts and context. In the winter of 1959, a group of hikers in Siberia's remote mountains died under unclear circumstances. What makes this case unusual is not just the deaths, but how it unfolded. Strange injuries, missing clothing, and moments that don't fully add up. This is often called the Dyatlov Pass incident, where and when it happened. Let's start with the setting. This event took place in Siberia, in the northern part of Russia. Siberia is known for being extremely cold and sparsely populated. The area has long winters and harsh weather. In early 1959, a group of 9 experienced hikers set out on an expedition into a mountain range called the Ural Mountains. The leader was a man named Igor Dyatlov. That's why the location later became known as Dyatlov Pass. They were all from a university skiing club. They had planned to reach a certain landmark called Otterton Mountain and return before the weather worsened. On January 27, 1959, the group made camp on the slopes of a hilltop pass. This is where the mystery begins. At first, friends and family expected them back on time. But when the group didn't return, search teams were sent out. What they found was unexpected and puzzling. What the search teams found. When the search began, rescue teams first found the hikers' abandoned camp. It was strange because the tent was cut open from the inside. The gear and backpacks were left behind. Some of the hikers had not even taken their shoes. This was unusual because Siberia was extremely cold. Temperatures may have dropped below -30 degrees Celsius. Leaving a warm tent without proper clothing was dangerous. The bodies were not together. Some were found just outside the camp, as if they had left quickly. A few were further down the slope, irregularly spaced. As rescuers searched more, they found more bodies in a small ravine, partially buried under snow. More confusion came from the injuries. A few had fractures, and one had serious chest trauma. Yet some of the injuries were unlike normal falls or animal attacks. And perhaps the most confusing detail, some of the hikers were missing parts of their clothing, even though it was freezing cold. These unsettling discoveries are part of what makes this case hard to fully explain. Early explanations and official reports. When the first official report was made, investigators suggested that an avalanche might have caused panic. The theory was that a sudden snowslide forced the hikers to flee their tent in a hurry. But there are issues with this explanation. For one, the slope where their camp was located is not known to be prone to large avalanches. Also, the tent was positioned in a way that would not normally block quick escape routes if snow fell. The original official conclusion listed a compelling natural force as the cause, a phrase that means something powerful happened, but not fully explained. Over the years, people have criticized this explanation as incomplete. In the decades that followed, official reviews were reopened at times, especially when public interest remained high and new data or analysis was requested. But there has never been a single, definitive public answer agreed upon by all researchers. Theories that have been suggested. Many theories have been proposed to explain what happened. None are proven, and each has strengths and weaknesses. 1. Avalanche theory. As mentioned, some believe the slope may have had snow movement or small slides. This might explain why the hikers left the tent quickly. Maybe they feared a collapse. But the injuries and scattered remains don't fully fit normal avalanche patterns. And experts who later studied the site said the slope may have been too mild for a large avalanche. 2. Catastrophic winds. Another idea is that sudden strong winds or weather shifts spooked the group. Harsh gusts can be disorienting and dangerous. But again, this theory does not fully explain why some hikers seem to have stayed down slope or why their tent was cut from the inside. 3. Infrasound and fear. Response infrasound is a low-frequency sound that humans cannot normally hear but can create anxiety or panic. Some scientists have theorized that certain wind patterns near the terrain could have produced infrasound, triggering fear and forcing the hikers to flee. It's an interesting idea, but there is limited direct evidence. 4. Military testing. This suggestion comes from the fact that the Cold War was ongoing. Some speculate that the group stumbled upon secret weapons tests or unusual atmospheric events. Official documents have hinted at military activity in parts of Siberia at the time, but there is no confirmed proof that these tests were connected to the hikers' deaths. 5. Animal or human encounter. Some have speculated encounters with wildlife or other people, but there was no clear evidence of tracks that might belong to dangerous animals or other groups. No signs were found indicating a typical animal attack. Each theory may explain part of the mystery, but none fully account for all details. What makes this case still haunting? So why does this story still draw attention today? First, the case has many unexplained elements. Injuries, missing clothing, tent cut from inside. Second, much of the story happened in a remote location, far from public view. And third, over the years, new generations of researchers, hikers, and curious people revisit the evidence, asking questions that the original investigations didn't answer. Human beings like puzzles. When a story has missing pieces, we feel drawn to try to fill the gaps. But caution is important. Sometimes what seems mysterious simply needs more data, careful context, or further scientific study. This case may never have a single answer that satisfies every theory, but it is valuable in showing how complex and layered real investigations can be. What we can learn. Even without a final answer, the Dyatlov Pass incident can teach us a few things. Nature can be unpredictable, especially in extreme environments. Human behavior under stress can be hard to interpret from memory alone. Careful, scientific investigation matters. We have to avoid rushing to conclusions. Sometimes mysteries remain open because not enough evidence exists to fully close the door. That doesn't mean speculation is wrong. It just means we must separate speculation from confirmed facts. This approach to thinking can help us with other complex, real-world questions too. If you're finding this story fascinating so far, go ahead and hit that like button. I'd love to see what part surprised you most. Drop a comment below if you have a theory, or if you'd like a follow-up video on other unexplained cases. Quick check. Did you know this incident was over 60 years old? Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Conclusion. To recap, we explored where and when this took place, what the search teams found, the unusual details of the scene, the main theories people have discussed, why this case still draws attention today. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the more unusual and discussed mysteries of the 20th century. Some elements may be resolved with further research. Some questions may never have clear answers. What's important is to approach stories like this with curiosity and careful thinking, not assumptions. Thanks for watching all the way through.